Hello and welcome to our complete guide on how to assemble and fit a Tailfin AeroPack to your bike. In this video, we will go through the tools and parts that are required, how to put them all together, and finally show you how simple it is to fit it to your bike. A Tailfin AeroPack is what we like to call a rigid seat pack. Rather than a traditional seat pack which attaches underneath your saddle and to your seat post, an AeroPack fits to your rear axle and also then to your seat post as well. It uses a rigid arch and framework inside the bag to eliminate that dreaded sway we tend to associate with seat packs, whilst also offering an increased capacity. When you order your Tailfin AeroPack system, in your package you will receive the following parts. You will receive a rear arch. This will be either carbon fibre or aluminium, and either pannier mount or non-pannier mount, depending on what you have chosen. You will also then receive the AP20 trunk top bag and then an integrated connector kit. This consists of a seat post connector and the rear connector to go between the arch and the bag. If you have chosen to go for an extended seat post connector as well, this part here, this will also be in your package. The final part of your package will be the lower connector points. If you've chosen a Tailfin axle, you will also receive the fast release dropouts. If you've chosen the frame mount adapters, you will also receive the fast release dropouts. Or if you've chosen to do direct mount only, this comes as standard with every single arch. This is a package of screws and spacers that will be in the arch box itself. If you've opted for frame mount adapters or for a direct mount only, you must make sure that your frame has the relevant eyelets to allow them to fit. Assembling a Tailfin AeroPack is a very simple job and only requires a couple of tools. You will need a Torx T25 key. This is something that's found on most modern multi-tools as it's the standard fit-in for disc brake systems. And we also recommend that you have a torque wrench in order to be able to tighten the bolts to our recommended torque settings. The first part of the assembly process is to attach the fast release dropouts to the arch. But before you can do that, you need to make sure you've got the arch in the right position. On the top of the arch is the Tailfin logo. This needs to be able to be read when you're stood behind the bike. When that's in place, that will have the arch in the correct orientation. Once you've got that in place, get your fast release dropouts. You will have them in the small bag with a little bag of screws as well. In the bag of screws, you need to find the black screws. These are the main T25 screws. These are also pre-impregnated with Loctite to allow them to stay in place securely when tightened to the correct settings. So with your arch oriented in the correct position, the next thing you need to do is make sure you've got your fast release dropouts pointed in the right direction as well. So there is a right way and a wrong way to do this. First of all, you will notice a large silver button on the fast release dropout. This is your release mechanism. When you pull this, the jaw opens. You want to make sure that the jaw faces the front of the bike. Then you'll also notice when you're looking at it from this angle that there is an angle here, a chamfer on the fast release dropout. This needs to be positioned towards the outside of the bike as well. With those two things in mind, you should be able to put them in the right position. So with this one, it drops forward and the angle is on this side, so therefore it will fit onto the left side of the arch. Fitting it is very, very simple. You have two recesses here on the bottom of the arch. That's where your screws go. Take one of the screws, drop it in place like so, and then use that just to very, very lightly screw that first one in place. Do the same with the second one. And once it's there, then what you can do is take your T25 key and tighten that up. When you have it relatively tight, take your torque wrench, set it to the relevant torque setting, which is 5 Newton meters, and then use it to tighten it to the correct torque setting. Once you have your first fast release dropout in place, then repeat the procedure to attach the second one. You will also notice in your fast release dropout kit 2 very small silver screws, and a corresponding Torx key. These are security screws that allow you to actually lock the AeroPack onto your bike if you so require additional security. There is a hole in each of the dropouts, and you can literally just thread that in, and tighten that in place, like so. And this will stop anybody from being able to actually release the fast release dropouts. This is a security Torx, so it's not something that will be commonly held by most people. With the fast release dropouts in place, if you just move this to one side, we'll go on to the next stage of the assembly process. The next stage of the assembly process is to attach the rear part of the integrated connector to the top of the arch. The integrated connector, the rear part, actually consists of two parts here to make it easy to take on and off. Take the larger part and press it onto one side of the arch, like so. It shouldn't take too much force to do it, but make sure it's on completely so you can see the groove on this side here. Then take the smaller part, make sure the orientation is the same as with this part here. So the thicker part needs to be pointing outside, and place that onto the other side of the arch, like so. Once both parts are in place, rotate the larger part around, and the important thing to do then is to make sure that this smaller part sits inside the recess on the larger part here. It should be obvious when that's in place because it will pop nicely into position, like so. When that's together, you can see it matches the shape on both parts of the integrated connector here. On the top is a recess for you to attach the screw. Inside the integrated connector is a small pack of 5 screws here. 4 are the same length and 1 is shorter. Find the shortest one. This is the one that you will use to attach and secure both parts of this connector part. So there's the smaller one. Start it off and then use your T25 key to tighten it. Once you've got it relatively tight, as with all of our screws, we recommend it is then torqued to 5 Newton meters. So take your torque wrench and tighten to 5 Newton meters. That's the first part of the rear connector attached to the arch. So once you have that part attached to the arch, you're then going to have to attach this to the AP20, the bag. The widest part is the part you're going to attach to. This is at the rear of the bag. Place it flat on your table, then get your arch, and you need to make sure that again that orientation of the arch is in the right position. So when you push it down, the important thing to do is look at the fast release dropouts. You've got it in the right orientation if the silver button, the release button, is pointing upwards. If that's in the right position like that, then that's correct. Then take 2 of your longer T25 screws that were in that package and use these to attach it to the AP20. When they're relatively tight, get your trusty torque wrench again, and once again, tighten to 5 Newton meters. That's the rear part of the AeroPack fully set up. So the final part to do is the seat post connector. If you've opted for the extended seat post connector, you will need to swap a couple of bits over before you can attach it to the AeroPack. So first things first, take the original seat post connector that comes in the integrated connector kit and find the silver screw here. And the important thing to do then is to loosen this. You might need to use 2 of these because there is a hex key fitting on both sides, and it's a male and female fitting. But normally it comes out just using 1. Take out both parts of those, and then you can pull these two parts away from each other. You will then notice there are two bushings, there are two nylon bushings still in this aluminium connector kit. You will need to transfer these over to the new extender. So you can just use either a very thin screwdriver, or you should be able to get your nail underneath there and pull out both sides, like so. With those out, get your new connector and pop those into both sides. Push them into place so they are nice and solidly in place. And then you can put this part back on, so the seat post connector. So looking at the way it's shaped, you can see you've got this recess here. So if you hold that up and have it going towards you like so, you should then look for the Tailfin logo and then fit those so it all lines up like so. So if we're looking at it like that, the Tailfin logo should be upright with this recess upright as well. When that is all together and in the right position, push through the connector pin. This might take a couple of little goes because you need to really push it and find that place. There we go. Can take a little bit, but then once it's in part way, you can take the other half and start tightening it. And when that starts to tighten, it will pull in this side here. Make sure that's done up nice and tight, but there should still be a bit of free movement on this front section here. That then is now set up for the extended seat post connector. The seat post connector is very, very simple, and it can only fit in one way. So this recess faces the bag. The important thing to do is to make sure that the front strap fits underneath the seat post connector like so. When you're happy that that's in the right position, just as with the back of the bag, use the remaining two T25 screws to attach the seat post connector. Take your torque wrench, and that is your AeroPack fully assembled. Now we've finished assembling the AeroPack, the next stage is to fit it to your bike. You'll be fitting it either using a Tailfin axle, which is the way that we're going to do it today because it's the way that we recommend, or through using frame mount adapters or directly bolting it to your frame. It's a very simple procedure and should only take a few seconds once you get used to it. So the first thing you need to do is to stand behind your bike and extend the AeroPack outwards. Then, using the silver buttons, release the jaws of the fast release dropouts, and then guide the fast release dropouts over the ends of the axle, like so. Push the jaw shut and the button will snap into place. It's nice and loud, so you should know when it's actually properly secure. Do that for both sides, and that's the lower part of the arch attached. Come to the front of the AeroPack and open up the seat post connector. Push it onto the seat post or seat tube where you want to attach it. Wrap the strap around and clip it in place on that side, and then close this lever. Make sure that you close it so the secondary lock, this central part here, clicks into place. You can check that by rattling it, and that should stay nice and solid. A good tip here is don't worry about doing up the strap too tight. It should hold it snug, but because it's a cam system, once you click that lever in place, it locks it automatically. Once you've done that, your AeroPack is now fitted. I hope this video has helped you to understand the assembly procedure and how to fit your AeroPack to your bike. If you have any further questions, please put them in the comment section below, and head to our website, tailfin.cc, to find out more information about the AeroPacks and other products, or if you need more support.